This is a recording to show you how to use the calculator for computing numerical statistics, which is to find the mean, median, and range and the standard deviation for a set of numerical data. What we're going to do is we're going to enter the prices of stock A and stock B and compare them by using those numerical statistics. So in order to do that, first we're going to enter the data for stock A and stock B into two lists. So the way that we'll begin is we'll turn the calculator on, and before you do any kind of statistics, it's always a good idea to do these steps first. Hit your Y equals menu and scroll down and make sure that there are no equations entered in Y equals and that there are no black boxes over any of the plots that you see at the top of the page. Now what I've just done is I have actually put black boxes on all of those plots, which means that when I hit second Y equals and go to the plots menu, which we'll investigate later, you see that all of those are on. That's going to create a problem if we have to have too many of those on at once. So the way you turn these off is you use your up arrow key and you hit enter. And when you move away from plot 1, you see that it's now turned off because it's not highlighted. So you do the same thing for any plot that has a black box on top of it, which means that it is turned on. So now all the plots are turned off. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to press the Stat button. And we are right here on this menu. And what we want to do is then hit enter. And notice that in my list 1, I have some data. You may or may not have data in list 1. If you have data in list 1 and list 2, simply hit delete repeatedly until the data all disappears. Now we'll enter the data for the two stocks. So beginning with stock A in list 1, we're going to enter 56, 56, 57, 58, 61, 63, another 63, and then 3 67s. Now, one of the things that we're not going to be able to find with the calculator is something called the mode. The mode is the data value that shows up the most often. And if you notice here, there are 3 values of 67 in that data list, whereas there are only 2 56s and 2 63s. So 67 is what we call the mode of that data set. The calculator will not find the mode for you. Now we'll use the left arrow key and we'll move over to list 2 and we'll enter the prices of stock B. So the first price is 33, then 42, then 48, then 52, then 57, and then 2 67s, then a 77, an 82, and a 90. And notice here again, the value 67 appears twice, whereas all the others appear only once. So the 67 has a greater frequency than any of the other values, meaning it shows up more than once and more often than any other number. So the mode for stock B is 67. And again, the calculator will not tell you this. You have to actually examine the data yourself to find the mode. So now that we've entered the data into list 1 and list 2, we're going to compute the statistics for stock A. So what we're going to do is we're again going to press the Stat button, which takes us back to the menu we saw before. And we're going to go over to the Calc menu. And the Calc menu is the menu in the middle, so we're going to use the right arrow key. And now we're on the Calc menu. What we want to do is calculate one variable statistics, which is one of our stats on the menu. That's already highlighted, so we're going to either press the number 1 because the number 1 is in front of it, or you can simply press Enter. And when you see this on the home screen, you need to hit Enter again. The default for the calculator is list 1, so as long as your data is there, you don't have to tell the calculator anything else. So you just hit Enter. And it gives you the mean, which is the first entry, that's X bar. And S is the standard deviation. It says SX, and S stands for standard deviation. You have to use the blue arrow to go down and see the rest. So we have the mean is 61.5, the standard deviation, because this is a sample of stock A's prices, is 4.5765100073, and you can round that appropriately depending upon what your instructions say. We know that we have 10 stock prices, and what we see at the bottom of the screen by pressing the down arrow key is what's called the 5-number summary. Your 5-number summary is the minimum data value, the first quartile data value, the median of the data values, the third quartile of the data values, and the maximum of the data values. Now what that basically means is that the smallest stock price was $56. The largest stock price was $67. If you want to find something called the range, that's the maximum minus the minimum, and you have to do that subtraction yourself. So in order to find the range, you would subtract 67, which is max X, minus 56, which is minimum X, and you see that your range is 11. Now the median is simply the data value that is in the middle of the data set if it is in rank order. And if we go back up to the original list of data values, you see that these are in fact in order. And since there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 data values, then the middle of the data values would be between data value number 5 and data value number 6. And what's halfway between 61 and 63 is 62. What the Q1 value is essentially it's the middle value of the lower 5 numbers of the data. And again, it has to be rank ordered. So Q1 is going to be, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the middle of those 5 data values is 57. And the same thing with the higher 5 data values, 61, 63. I'm sorry, starting with 63 because 63 is above the median. 63, 63, 67, 67, 67. The middle of those is 67. And so that you'll understand this on the second one, what's going to happen here is since these data values are all also already rank ordered, then we're going to find that 77 is Q3, that halfway between 57 and 67 is going to be the median, and halfway between 57 and 67 is 62, and then the Q1 value is going to be 48. So we've found the statistics for stock A, and again the first entry was the mean, that's this number here, and SX is your standard deviation number. And again, as I said, the mode is not computed for you. You have to do that yourself. Now we'll compute the statistics for stock B. So again, we're going to press the Stat button. And we're going to right arrow over to the Calc menu. And again, we want one variable statistics, which is already highlighted, so we'll either hit the number 1 because that's choice number 1, or you can simply hit enter. This time we can't see the statistics for list 2 if all we do is hit enter. You have to actually type in list 2 before you hit enter again. List 1 is above the numeral 1, L2 is above the numeral 2. And you have to hit the second key to access those. So since we want it to say list 2, we'll hit the second button. Notice that the arrow points upward when you hit the second button. That's to indicate to you that you're using the print that's above the key. So 1 bar stats, and then second and the number 2 key to access list 2, which is called L2. And we'll hit enter again. So, just to recap, pay attention. If your data is not in list 1, then you have to tell the calculator where the data is. This is going to give us the statistics for stock B. So notice here again, the mean is 61.5. The standard deviation is 18.31 or 18.3136. Again, we had 10 stock prices. And our 5-number summary is 33 for the minimum value, 48 for the median of the lower half of the data, which is called the first quartile, the median of the entire data set, which is 62, which is the middle between the 5th and the 6th number, 77, which is the middle of the top 5 numbers, and then the maximum data value was 90. And that means then that your range is the maximum, which is 90, minus the minimum, which is 33. So the range is 57. Now, when we compare these statistics, what we notice is that the median is 62 for both data sets. This is, if you remember, this is data set 1, or A. So the median is the same for both sets of data. But the quartiles are vastly different. 48 and 77, whereas for stock A, it's 57 and 67, much closer together. And you'll also notice that the range was much different. The range for stock A was only 11, whereas the range for stock B turned out to be 57. So what that means is, although the mean, which is 61 for stock B, I'm sorry, 61.5, and it's also 61.5 for stock A, their average price is the same. Their median price is the same. So if you were going to buy the stocks, you'd think, well, okay, they pretty much are about the same in price. But they really aren't. Because if you look, for one thing, at the range for stock A was 11, and the range for stock B was 57, what that tells you is there's a lot more variation in the price of stock B than there is in stock A. And that means stock B is not nearly as consistent as stock A is. So if you want slow and steady and somewhat less risky investments, then you would choose stock A, because stock B might wind you up losing money.